I've been through the gamut on this as far as going through different investors
Right.
and control and things like this. They start out small with good intentions, and then they start to take on capital, and then they look up one day and they realize they're just about to lose control of the company. And then if they don't do something, they will lose control of the company. And if they have to do something or they'll lose control. And if they don't, the company will go under. So they got
Is
in
it
between
because
a
of
rock and a hard
is it
place.
because of like covenants in the agreement or something? Like you
Yeah,
have to reach certain metrics
yeah,
or
right.
yeah.
When you're like naive to these operating agreements, that can get pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
You go 100-page long
Yeah, I was gonna
legal
say
docs.
70 pages. Like,
Yeah. If you're kind of naive to those and you don't understand what special consent is, or you don't understand what other types of handcuffs are, and you're getting a big check for the first time, you're excited about, you're going to basically sign on the dotted line, but those handcuffs can really come back to bite you.
and I think it's very tempting to just close your eyes and say, "Hope it all works out," and just sign.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've felt that before in business,
Right.
but a lot of times that can come back to hurt you because things don't always end up okay.
Right.
And then if you signed your whole company away because you were just hoping it would work out, you can get in a lot of trouble.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are attracted to the beverage industry because they think they can make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that attracts intellect high intellectual talent, but may not have the best interests of keeping the company honest and pure.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's great that there's intellectual talent, but you can lose the soul of the company. I think there's very few food and beverage companies that still have a soul and also are growing and are a medium to large size business. There's probably a handful of them. The rest are on a transactional path to take on investment capital and sell. And the founders may or may not really give a shit, actually. They kind of maybe they just got into it because they wanted to make a lot of money and they thought it was sexy to have a beverage company.
I think so. I mean, if you go to BevNet Live, the conference BevNet does every year, you see a lot of that going on there. Just
for sure.
I mean, that's kind of the whole business model of that event, though. It's like bringing investors with
Right.
founders and
Right.
like pitching, like, this is why my company is going to be worth $1 billion.
Right. Right.
And
They have the end goal in mind instead of the day to day.
right.
I mean, this is really a marathon. Actually, life is a marathon, and there's no need to be in a rush. And as I gain more experience, I'm starting to realize that there's no rush.
Right.
And one thing, you have to satisfy shareholder needs, but at the other side, you need to satisfy consumer needs. And most of the time, consumer and shareholder needs are actually parallel. If you take care of the consumer, good things will happen to the company, and then shareholder value will increase. But I'm realizing that building a company to sell it, is not taking care of all the stakeholders necessarily. And sure, a liquidity event's nice, but sometimes those liquidity events actually are less than you expect because you cut corners on the day-to-day stuff. So
yeah, I mean, we're seeing it's been in the news. Suja basically looking for someone to buy the other half of the company now because they're on the path to the acquisition with Coke, but then something happened and Coke backed out, and now it's like,
right,
who knows what's really going on behind the scenes? But it's not what they thought it was going to be.
Right.
A couple years later.
Right. I mean, back to your question of what do I think the beverage industry can do to help the people? I think for one, it's local juice for sure. I think it's local products for sure.
Small batch.
For sure.
Mhm.
I drink it. Everywhere I go, Charlie, the first place I go is a juice bar with fresh juice.
Yeah.
I definitely drink Salty when it's around. I
Mhm.
mean, we're in more and more locations now. And I definitely drink Salty if there's nothing else around. This is really just an alternative to the poison on the shelf.
Mhm.
I look at it very black and white. There's a bunch of poison on the shelf, and this is not poisonous.
Right.
Like, so if I'm
For
in
sure.
in a jam, I'm just gonna drink the not poisonous stuff.
Yeah.
I know all this stuff's poisonous: cola, soft drinks, sports drinks, most of the other functional healthy beverages in plastic bottle. All that's basically not good for us to ingest. This is good for us to ingest. But the small juice bars, I think, are the heroes. And this was a small company at one point, and it's still a fairly small company, but getting to mid-size.
Still has the spirit of a small company.
Yeah.
You don't walk in here and feel like it's some tech startup with like, I I don't know. It's hard to explain with the energy, of
Yeah.
a lot of those beverage companies that are really on the like Series A, Series B, Series C, like
Pins and needles all the time,
yeah,
actually. It's
yeah,
like very tense, huh?
right, yeah,
Because they have to hit the deadlines.
yeah,
Yeah. We were there in 2017.
hmm
It was very tense.
yeah,
Everybody was trying to do things, and that causes like scrambling. It causes lack of focus because there's too many activities that are not well thought through. You're spending other people's money, so easy come, easy go. So I
yeah.
think
So sorry,
the
yeah,
local juice bars, I'll tie it back in. The local juice bars, I think, should also focus on profitability, which just goes to independence, which just goes to freedom.
right,
Like profitability, independence, and freedom will allow you to be creative and like evolve your juice bar or your business endeavor.